Welcome back to That Philly Sports Girl. I'm your host, Elise Person, and you guessed it, we are going to be talking about all your most recent Philadelphia sports news. Starting right off with the Philadelphia Phillies, who are coming off an epic win last night after Andrew McCutchen hit a 3-run walk-off home run to win the game. The Phils went down quick in just one inning. The Nationals were able to bring home 4 runs in the 4th inning early on in the game, putting the Phillies down 4-0. Then in the 6th inning, the Phillies were able to score 3 runs, putting the score at 4-3. The Nationals were then able to score one final run in the 9th inning. Now, in the bottom of the 9th, they are up 5-3. With 2 outs left to give, McCutchen steps up to the plate and brought home Gene Secura and Bryce Harper on the 3-run home run to give the Phils the walk-off win. This win comes after a long weekend of play after a 4-game series against the Braves where the Phils went 2-2, which included a big 15-3 loss on Saturday. The Phils were able to come back from that loss on Saturday and end the series with a win behind Aaron Nola on the mound, winning 2-1. Nola pitched into the 8th inning, throwing 116 pitches and threw 78 strikes. After the game, Nola said, quote, "I actually felt my best today that I have all year, more in sync with everything. I want to be pushed into the late innings. I knew I was around 100 pitchers or so. I feel like I can go to 115 or 120. I expect to be going deep into games the rest of the way," end quote. This is huge for Aaron Nola, who has definitely struggled this season so far. The Phils have been 4-8 in his last 12 starts, and he entered on Sunday with a 5.86 ERA over those past 12 games. From 2018 to 2020, Nola was 34-18 with a 3.13 ERA. Just this season has been a struggle for him. However, it really is great to see him on the mound exuding confidence and seeing him pitch like the old Aaron Nola, if you will. He said it himself that he feels confident moving forward, especially after Sunday's game, so I'm really excited to see more from him. Nola is expected to start again this Friday against the Pittsburgh Pirates, so I'll definitely be watching to see how he comes off this Sunday's win and continues to move forward, exuding that confidence and having that presence on the mound. Some more COVID updates for the Phils. They placed outfielder Travis Jankowski on the COVID-related IL this past Sunday, and they activated right-handed pitcher Chase Anderson and outfielder Mickey Moniak. Anderson was on the COVID-related IL since early June and then spent the month of July on a minor league rehab assignment. He hasn't pitched more than 6 innings since early June. This upcoming Friday is the trade deadline, and we are hoping to see the Phils make some moves for help in the starting pitcher position. Zach Eflin is still sidelined with knee tendonitis, and with Anderson making a slow comeback, like I said, hasn't pitched more than 6 innings since June, this is definitely a position the Phillies need some help in. So that's definitely something I'll be following as this week continues. That's this Friday is the MLB trade deadline. Moving along to the Philadelphia Eagles, who are full swing at training camp starting today, and they have made some big news within the free agency this week. On Sunday afternoon, the Eagles signed cornerback Steven Nelson to a 1-year deal worth more than $4 million. I love this decision. I love this move. The Eagles notoriously have needed help in the secondary for, I feel like, as long as I can remember, and especially with some key players such as Jalen Mills gone, I think this is a great sign and really adds to the Eagles' defense. I also think it was a necessity. I think we needed that help, and I'm really excited to see how he fits in with the defensive scheme. Yesterday, the Eagles officially signed center Landon Dickerson. This is the last draft pick to be signed. Dickerson signed a 4-year deal, which will be worth $8.6 million, including a $3.6 bonus. Dickerson is projected to be heir to Jason Kelce's throne under center. Kelce is entering his 11th season with the Eagles, and he turns 34 years old in November. So Dickerson could be, as I said, heir to the throne, however, as long as he stays healthy. Dickerson definitely struggled with injuries throughout his college season. I think he only had 1 healthy full season playing his 5 years. So I think that's going to be also something to watch, making sure that he stays healthy and also watching the progression of Jason Kelce throughout the year. Now moving on to the Flyers. This past Friday was day one of the NHL draft, and we have seen a lot of movement from the Flyers since Friday, with new draft picks, players being traded, players being re-signed, free agencies, and more. Let's get right into it with Samuel Morin. Yesterday, the Flyers re-signed defenseman Samuel Morin to a one-year, $750,000 contract extension. Morin was set to become an unrestricted free agent come tomorrow, and the Flyers took advantage of keeping this defenseman who says he really feels like a Flyer. At the end of his season press conference in May, he said, quote, "I think I'm probably one of the toughest guys in the league, to be honest. Next year, we're going to play those big boys in the West, and I'm kind of ready to prove it. I think I can bring something that no one else here can. I feel like I'm a Flyer," end quote. The re-signing of Morin comes with a lot of changes to the defense, such as the additions of Ryan Ellis from the Nashville Predators and Rasmus Ristolainen from the Buffalo Sabres. The Flyers traded defenseman Shane Gostisbehere to the Arizona Coyotes, Philip Myers to the Nashville Predators, and Robert Hagg to the Buffalo Sabres. Another big trade came from the wing position when longtime Flyer Jakub Voracek was traded to the Columbus Blue Jackets for Cam Atkinson. This was a huge trade, but not too surprising, as it had been reported that both Voracek and the Flyers were ready to part ways. However, there was no bad blood or animosity, just two parties looking for some change. Yesterday was the final day for the Flyers to extend qualifying offers to their restricted free agents. The most notable on the team are Carter Hart, Travis Seinhem, Connor Bunnaman, and David Case. Each of these Flyer members did receive qualifying offers from the Flyers yesterday. Flyers general manager Chuck Fletcher said, quote, "That time of the year is sort of coming. We'll get a feel for what their preferences are, what the price point would be, and different term lengths, like you always do, and see what makes sense," end quote. The Flyers currently have about $11.7 million in cap space. The most pressing issue for me is finding a backup goalie, and then right after that, continuing to add help to the defense, who really struggled this past season. Finally, to recap for the Flyers, the 2021 draft picks. In the second round, the Flyers selected right winger Samu Tuomaala. The third round, the Flyers selected goalie Alexei Kolosov. Fourth round, we took defenseman Brian Zanetti. Fifth round, Flyers took defenseman Ty Murison. Sixth round, defenseman Ethan Sampson. And in the seventh round, the Flyers selected center Owen McLaughlin, who is actually a PA guy himself from Chester County, Pennsylvania. That'll do it for our Flyers talk. Now let's move over to our 76ers. The NBA draft is coming up quick. It will be held this Thursday night at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, and there is a lot of possibilities to come from draft night this Thursday. I would not at all be surprised if the Sixers started trading draft picks for players. The Sixers need a guard that can shoot, no doubt. But I'll be interested to see how the Sixers go about obtaining this player, with whether it'll be through drafting rookies or trading for more seasoned players. Who knows? It could even be both. We could be drafting rookies at this position, trading for this position. All of these scenarios could happen Thursday night. As of right now, the Philadelphia Sixers get the 28th pick in the first round, but I'm very interested to see if that continues to stand come the night of the draft. The Sixers last season notoriously traded away picks for our big players such as Seth Curry, and I'm really excited to see if they will continue with that methodology come Thursday night. A big story as well continues with Ben Simmons. It's going to be very interesting as well to see if Ben Simmons is still a Sixer come Friday morning. On Saturday, Bleacher Report insider Jake Fisher reported that Wizards all-star guard Bradley Beal would welcome trades to Boston, Golden State, Miami, or Philadelphia. This comes at a perfect time because earlier last week, The Ringer's Kevin O'Connor reported that the Sixers want to, quote, make a blockbuster trade for Damian Lillard or Bradley Beal, end quote. This is the chance. This is the opportunity. We need to start making these trade deals with Ben Simmons at the center of them. I would love to take on Bradley Beal. He would be a great addition to the Sixers. So would Damian Lillard. I'm just having really high hopes right now that we can get one of these two guys sooner than later. My final piece of Sixers news is that we will be losing a part of our coaching staff, as Popeye Jones will be taking an assistant coaching job with the Denver Nuggets. Jones was with the Sixers as an assistant for 1 year, and prior to that, he was an assistant for the Indiana Pacers for 7 years. That is going to do it for today's episode, including all your Philadelphia sports news. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm that Philly Sports Girl, and we'll see you 2 weeks from now.